Okay, so now you're going to switch to your 2.5 millimeter hook, and we're going to be using the same yarn. So we're going to go ahead and do our magic ring again. So I'll show you again. You're going to wrap the yarn loosely around, put the hook under the first, over the second, and pull it up under. And then you're going to chain one. Okay, and then you're going to single crochet 10 times. Okay, so you're just going to make your single crochets. Remember how we did this in the magic ring is over both pieces of yarn. Okay, so do your single crochet. We're going to do, as I mentioned, you're going to do 10 of them. And just keep in mind, you got to be careful to make sure you're doing it over both pieces of yarn. Okay, so you're going to just go ahead, do, sorry, one sec, do 10, finish doing your 10 single crochet. Okay, so now that you finished doing your 10 single crochet into your magic ring, you're going to go ahead and grab that tail end piece, and just carefully keeping all the stitches straight, you're going to go ahead and pull that tight to close any gap or hole in the middle of the round. Okay, just give it a little tug there, straighten it out, and don't forget we're going to use this tail piece as our stitch marker, but first we're going to close this round. So find that chain one space that you started with right there. Okay, put your hook through and yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. Okay, and now is a good time to go ahead and take, you can take, well, first let's do our chain one. We're going to chain one, and then you take that tail end piece and just flip it over to use it as a stitch marker, and we're going to go and do 2 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Okay, so you're going to do 2 single crochets every stitch all the way around, close with a slip stitch in that chain one space, and then chain one to begin the next round. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do 2 single crochet in that first stitch right there. Okay, so that's one. We're going to do another one in the same space, single crochet. Okay, and we're going to do 2 in the following stitch. And by the end of this round, you should have a total of 20 stitches. All right, so just go ahead, continue. Okay, so now that you've finished that, close with a slip stitch, you chain one. Now we're going to do our 2 single crochet in the first stitch. Okay, so that's one. Do one more in the same stitch, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next one. Okay, and you're going to follow this alternating pattern all the way around. You're going to be doing 2 single crochet in that following one there, 1 single crochet in the one after, and you're just going to follow this same alternating pattern all the way around. 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet. You're going to go and do that all the way around. Okay, and of course every round you're going to close with a slip stitch in your chain one space, and then you're going to chain one to start the next round. So go ahead and do that following that alternating pattern. 2 single crochets and then 1 in the next. Do that all the way around. Close with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then come back. Okay, so now that you finished that round, now you're going to do 1 single crochet in every single stitch all the way around. You're going to close with a slip stitch and chain 1. Okay, and you're going to do this for a total of 7 rounds. Just 1 single crochet every single stitch around, close each round with a slip stitch, chain 1, and do that for a total of 7 rounds, and then come back. Okay, so now that you've finished that, those 7 rounds, now you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first 5 stitches. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to do 1 more single crochet in the 5th one there. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet in the following stitch. So we're increasing in this round. So one and then one more in the same stitch. You're going to go ahead and you're going to follow this alternating pattern all the way around. So you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then you're going to do 2 in the following, and just keep following that around. Close your round with a slip stitch and chain 1 and then come back. Okay, so now that you've finished that round, you're going to continue doing that again for another 2 rounds, the same one you just did, and then come back. Okay, so now that you've finished those rounds, now you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and you're going to do that for a total of 5 rounds. So you're just going to go do 1 single crochet in every single stitch all the way around, close each round with a slip stitch in your chain 1 space, and you're going to chain 1 to begin the next round. Okay, so you're just going to continue on for 5 rounds and then come back. Okay, so now that you've finished those 5 rounds, now we're going to start to begin our decrease rounds. So move your stitch marker up to this space because you're going to want to keep track of these. So you're going to do a single crochet in the first 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to do a single crochet decrease. Okay, so you're going to put your hook in that next stitch there, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Hold it in place, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Okay, now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over. Okay, see all 3. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through all 3. So you're taking those 2 stitches and you're turning them into 1. So that's a single crochet decrease. So now what you're going to do is, again, you're going to go and do 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. And this is going to be repetitive all the way around, but I'm going to do another one with you right now just to make sure that you're comfortable with the single crochet decrease. It's a new step. So I'm going to do these next 5 single crochets. Okay, and now we're going to do another decrease in these next 2. So you're going to push your hook in, you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Hold it in place, push your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and you're going to pull through all 3 of them. So continue doing that all the way around. Close with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then come back. Okay, so now you're going to do a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. Yep, sorry about that. I just lost it off my hook there for a second. Let me just redo this one. Sorry. Okay, so you're going to do a single crochet in that first stitch there, and you're going to do a single crochet in the next one. So you did one in the first 2 stitches, and now you're going to do a single crochet decrease. Okay. Pull through all 3, and then you're going to do single crochet in the next 2, a decrease, and you're going to do that all the way around and then come back. Okay, so now is where we're going to work on the accents of the Grinch face before we finish up, because the opening is going to be getting smaller and smaller. So just pull some yarn through, don't fasten it off, just pull it through so that while we're doing our next bit of work here, you don't lose your place and you don't pull any stitches out. Okay, so you're gonna set that aside just for a second there, and we're gonna start working on the hair. So here's the other slipper I've already done, and we're gonna work on this little tuft of hair at the top. Okay, So basically you're going to take your same green yarn and you're going to cut it into strips about this long. Like, it doesn't really have to be exact. I'm not even completely sure exactly how long these are, but that's what we're going to be working on right now. And you're just going to put your hook right through the top there. Sorry, let me fix the view a bit. It's a little tricky. You want to put 2 on one side of that little center of the top of the head and then 2 on the other side. So just push your hook through. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay? And just use your hook to pull it partially through. So pull 1/2 of that string right down, and you can let go of the hook and just put your hand up and pull it right through there. Okay? And then take your hook and push it through just on the other side of the stitch, like that you just went. You want to be wrapping yarn around something because we're going to tie it. So then push it up through from the top to grab that end that you pulled in. I know this is a little bit awkward. This is more of a tedious stage that we're at, but it'll go by quickly. So there you go. So you pull that through. Okay. So now you've got like a stitch on in between these 2 strands, and you're just going to double knot, like make sure it's even, and just tie it in a knot. So you're going to tie it one more time to make sure it's really secure. Okay. Give it a tug. And then you're going to take one of the pieces of yarn and see how it's like in strands. It's made up of 4 different like little strands. So you're going to just pull them apart. Okay, and just give it a tug and make sure that you pull all 4 of them separated. Okay, there you go. And you're just going to continue on the other side here. You're going to do the same thing. Just separate those strands, and you're going to be doing this with all 4 of those pieces. So you're going to put one more of the pieces next to this one and follow these same steps, and then just move on to the other side of the center of the head so that you can try and have this little tuft of hair right up top on the top of his head centered. Okay, so you just separate it. There you go. And now you're going to do it again right there, and then 2 more over here. All right, so just go ahead, follow those steps, and then come back. Okay, so now that you've done that, you can see this little tuft of hair here. So just kind of grab a couple of pieces and just from either side, pull it all together, kind of like a ponytail. Just grab a couple strands, and what we're going to do just to sort of secure it in place is just going to wrap a couple strands. Doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect. We're talking about the Grinch here. And just wrap it around and tie it off, and then just pull it back around in the front. We're just going to secure it really good. These are slippers. It's going on people's feet. You want to make sure that all these ends stay secure, especially if you're making these to sell. You don't want your product to be coming loose, falling apart. So just give that a little tug, and there you go. It's secure, it's in place. You can tie it one more time. I like to tie it one more time just to make sure it's really secure. Okay, so just tie that, give it a little pull, and there you go. So you're done that little bit of hair. Now you can see by looking at the other one I did that it's a bit long. You can see it there. So just kind of gather it all together and get your scissors and just sort of give it a little snip there, give it a little trim. Okay, and then you can just fluff it out, and that part is done. So now we're done the hair, and we're ready to move on to the next part of our Grinch accessorizing his face, his hair, his collar. So we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now that you finished the hair, we're going to work on the collar. Okay, so the collar is just a very fringy, scruffy looking collar. And what we're going to do is cut a bunch of strands, desired length. It doesn't even matter, but I did mine the same as I did the hair. That's how long I did these strands. So you're just going to take your crochet hook and we're going to be working in the front loop of all the stitches, every single stitch all the way around. Okay, so when you push your hook through the stitch regularly, I just want to show you what it looks like so you know you're doing it right. So that's how it would look on your hook when you push your hook through your stitch. But we're only doing the front loop. So you're just going to push your hook in and put it up through the middle there. So you're just pulling out that front loop right there. Okay, so you're going to pull your strand halfway through the front loop. Okay, just give it a little tug, and then you're going to even it out and then tie it into a double knot around that through that front loop. And you're going to do this for every single stitch all the way around. You're going to pull a strand through every single one. Okay, and so the same way that we separated it for the hair, we separated all 4 of the little strands. The collar's a bit thicker. So for the collar, we're just going to separate 2. So you're going to pull them apart in 2, so right in half. So don't separate all 4, just separate 2 because you want the hair to look a little bit thinner than the collar. Just adds more texture to the look of it. So you're just going to pull it apart like that, do both sides, and you're going to do this for every single stitch all the way around, and then come back and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to move on to do the eyes. So you're going to switch to your yellow yarn and grab your hook. You're going to make your slip knot loop, and you're going to put your hook through, and we're going to chain 12. Okay, so go ahead and do your chain 12. I'm going to do the whole thing here with you right now. For 7. Okay, so you're going to make your, your full chain of 12. Okay, and then once you make your full chain of 12, you're going to attach that last chain to the first one with a slip stitch. So push it through, yarn over, and pull through both loops on your hook. And then you're going to pull through a long tail, make it really long. It'll make sense in a minute why. And then just fasten it off with your scissors. Okay, and just continue to pull that right through. And like I said, it'll make sense to you in a minute why you're making such a long tail. And grab your yarn needle now. Okay, so you're going to grab your yarn needle, and here's a little trick how to thread it easily. Just fold it right over, pull it, and kind of work it in there. Okay, tug the little end through. And you're going to use this yarn needle. Now, don't worry, you don't have to have any crazy sewing skills. I certainly do not. And you're going to take this eye and just kind of pull a shape that you want and position it on the face how you want, where you want that first eye to go. Okay, just have a look and try and picture 2 there. I know it looks really weird when you're doing 1. Okay, just give a little tug up that way. And just kind of play around with it and see how you want it to go. Then take your yarn needle and literally you're just going to sew it onto the face, going in and out through the head. So you're going to go pull that right down, and then you're going to find your way to go back up through the next stitch, and you're just going to go around and sew that entire chain all the way around, going in and out, in and out. Sew it all the way on. And then we'll work on filling it in the next step. So just go ahead, sew it onto the face as best as you can, going through each chain, and then come back. Okay, so now that you have the whole eye sewn on all the way around, now we're going to fill it in, and we're going to do it this back and forth motion, back and forth, back and forth. So you're just going to push your needle in. Okay. And you just went from one side into the other side. You're going to come back up. It's a little tricky to find where, so Like I said, you don't need any crazy skills. Careful you don't poke yourself here. So pull your needle up, and you want it to really fill in. So go really, really close to the last space and go back over to the other side. So you're going to come up one side, over, then come back up that same side, go over. So you're just going to fill in the eye, all with your yellow, doing this back and forth. I don't know if I think using the word technique is using that term very loosely. I don't actually know if this is a technique. I'm just sharing how I did mine, and this is what I did to fill it in. So go ahead, do that, and then come back. Okay, so now that you have finished filling it all in, you're going to go, because you have that little piece that's sort of just like sticking out. So you're going to hide this tail end just to secure it. Just kind of weave a little bit of it in and out of the back of the stitches there. Make sure it didn't show through. Okay. And then you're just going to grab your scissors, fasten that off. All right. Have a little look, make sure, and you see this other little tail end. It's still kind of poking through there. Use your hook and just kind of stick it up around where that is and pull it right down. So I came a little too far out, it would show. Okay. All right, and just pull it right down. And there you go. So now it's out of the way. You've got that part of the eye on. I know it still looks really weird, but don't worry. So now we're going to move on to the next step. So now we're going to work on the other part of the eye, the little pupil. So you're going to thread the needle with your black yarn. Okay, so just pull that through. This one's a little bit thicker. I don't know if all of yours is the same that you're using, but I've got some different widths here. And you're just going to literally just create a little circle and fill it in the same way that you just did the eye. And this is the other one I did. You can see that they're not perfect, they're not totally even, but I think this face, I think it looks great. And I just sort of roughly did this circle to create a pupil. So I'll give you a little idea here. And just find a little place to come up. And if it doesn't turn out exactly how you want it when you're trying to position it, we didn't tie a knot in the end of the yarn, you're just sort of pulling it through carefully, you can undo this and try again. I know it could be a bit tedious, but it's honestly worth it when you get through these steps. And the little accessorizing of these things doesn't last too long, so it's not that bad. And I always have a little bit of a hard time with this part. Okay, and just pull it right through. And I make it a little bit larger because the yellow part is kind of small. And so you're going to just kind of go in like a circular motion around here. Okay, so go ahead, do that, work on your pupil, fill it in, and then come back. Okay, so once you've finished your eyes, just repeat the same steps you just did and go ahead and make the other eye. So now we're going to work on the nose. Okay, so the way that I figured where I'm going to put the nose, I just have a look at this one. Just literally at the bottom where the eyes are, right in the middle. And I just used kind of the outline of a stitch, and I went diagonal across it one way and then went right back the other way. So just poke it up there. Okay, right in the middle of a stitch or at the bottom corner of one. And just pull it right through. I made a really, really long piece of yarn for the black because I'm going to do the nose, the mouth, and the eyebrows all with one piece. So I just go diagonally across the little square here. Okay. And just pull that right through. Sorry, it's so long. Okay, and then I just go and do the same thing for the other side of that little nostril. poke my needle up at the bottom corner of another stitch. You might have to hold the end of your yarn in place. Okay, and give it a little tug. Do you want that part to be small? And then go diagonal and meet back at the top middle point of the nostrils, the nose. And just pull that yarn all the way through. Okay, and that just gives you the look of the nose. And now what we're going to work on is the mouth. So you see how I kind of make it go across here. It's a little bit of a sinister grin, I think. And then I just went diagonally all the way down across a bunch of these stitches, then followed the bottom line of some and went right back up the other side. It's pretty simple. It's all very, very simple. I'm not a sewing master by any means. Okay. So just kind of line it up there where I want it to go. You want it to be a really high up sinister grin. Okay, so you're just going to pull that right through. Got a little bit tangled there. Okay, and then just go up diagonal across that one square. Kind of makes like that little crease, or that little, I don't know what you'd call it, at the top of a smile. Okay, and then I just poke my yarn needle. You want it to meet with that part, so I just poke it right up so it comes basically in the middle of that black piece that I already put. You're going to go right up the middle of it. Okay, pull the yarn all the way through. And then this part is where the smile curves. So you're just going to go down and follow in a diagonal pattern. Go in and out of each stitch. Now, this part's a little bit tricky because you got to think about it. You're going down this corner. You can't come right back up that corner. Okay, so you're going to go and follow these corners all the way down. And then when you get here, you're going to follow across the bottoms and then go back up diagonally. And you're going to have a look somewhat like this. So go ahead. You're just going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to do the same thing for the eyebrows. So you're just going to go, and when you're done the mouth, through the inside, find where you want to start, and just go ahead and do the eyebrows the same way you did the mouth. The same idea, going diagonal across the squares of the stitches. Okay, so now we're going to work on finishing. You're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to place it in that chain one loop where you originally left off. And now we're going to be working in the back loop of these stitches. Okay, so we're going to do a single crochet in the back loop of every single stitch all the way around. Okay, yarn over and pull through both. All right, so you're going to do that every single stitch all the way around. And of course, you're going to close your rounds with a slip stitch and chain one. So go ahead, do that for each back loop, and then come back. Okay, so now what you're going to do, now we're back to working in the entire stitch. We're going to do a single crochet decrease. That's how we're going to start out this next round. Single crochet decrease. Okay. And then a single crochet in the next stitch. And you're going to follow that pattern all the way around. Single crochet decrease, single crochet, close with slip stitch, chain one. Okay. And now we're back and you're seeing the opening is getting smaller and smaller. So you're now going to stuff it with a stuffing of your choice, whatever from the craft store or whatever you choose to stuff it with. So just kind of hold on to your place there so you don't lose your stitches, and just stuff it. All right, so just push the stuffing all the way in, stuff it completely how you want it to be, and then come back. Okay, So now you're going to repeat this next round the same way you just did the last one, where you do a single crochet, decrease, single crochet, single crochet, decrease, single crochet. Go all the way around, close with slip stitch, chain one, and then come back. Okay, so now you're going to do a single crochet decrease all the way around. Every stitch is single crochet decrease. All right, and now you're just going to fasten it off. Pull out a stitch marker if you're using one. Fasten off the yarn there, because of course you just closed that last round with a slip stitch. All right, and just kind of tuck that in. It doesn't really matter about closing up that tiny little hole because this is getting attached to the top of your slipper now anyway. And there's your Grinch head. So that's done, and grab your slipper and find how you want it to be positioned on top. And then you're just going to use your yarn needle and your same green yarn, and you're going to attach it by those stitches there around the collar, and just attach it to the slipper, and you've got your Grinch character slippers completed.